but we still are using consensus, modified consensus, which means mostly because it's a smaller group, we'll be coming to consensus. But if there was someone who was like refusing to move forward on something, we can move to a 9/10 vote, which means if 10% of the assembled group wants to uphold a block, and the decision doesn't get made. Hand signals, just as a quick overview, fingers in the air, pointing up, I like this, or I agree. Middle, I feel on the fence about this. Down, I feel bad about this, I don't like it, okay? We'll use that in what's called a temperature check. If someone says temperature check, you just kind of indicate how you're feeling. It's also a good way if someone is saying something you agree with or that you would say, to say this instead of getting on stack and saying, what that guy said I fully agree with, and I just want to say I fully support that, and blah, 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 because that's an extra 30 seconds of the meeting that then is gone forever. Does that make sense so far? Okay. What else? If we get to decision making, which I think we will today, we've got a couple agenda items that are actually proposals. This means block. Block means like I have a serious safety or ethical concern regarding the decision that's about to be made, and I want to either develop it further or I want to stand in the way of this decision. It's super serious. If you just don't like something, you do this. And it's our job as facilitators. There's a number of folks in the crowd who are doing this. We need to address that. We don't just move to consensus because it looks like most folks are doing this. Cool? Understood so far? Okay. The way that this meeting is structured, we'll have an open time for some announcements that people have that are pertinent directly to today and today's events, which is we'll open stack and folks will get in line and then they'll speak. Secondly, we'll develop the agenda. Again, we'll start with items that are directly pertinent to today. And then if there's time, we'll move into some other things. What I'm going to suggest, and we'll do a temperature check on this, is that as we open the agenda, we start with 6 minutes for every item for discussion. That way, at 6 minutes, we can decide as a group how we're feeling about continuing the discussion or tabling it for later. Does that make sense? You're cool with that?
I just want to add on the idea of the block and consensus that if someone does block, before we move to 9/10, we do make a good faith effort to reach consensus to find a solution that's going to include that person.
Totally.
What's stack?
Stack is the order in which we speak. So that way you don't have to stand there with your hand up like you're in class. You have to get the stack taker's attention. Okay. And the way stack works, you get John's attention, John will note you, and then you'll go on stack. We use progressive stack, which means that it's not necessarily the order in which you raise your hand. If 4 other people who look like you or like represent a demographic of yours, and then someone who doesn't raises their hand, they might speak before you. And that way we have a diversified conversation.
And also, if somebody is speaking a lot on a particular item, but somebody else hasn't spoken, and they both have their hands up, we'll probably call on the person who hasn't spoken yet, just to give everybody an opportunity to speak and be heard.
One question. I think I saw this at the sanitation committee, that when you point up like this, you need to speak up and hear you. Is that correct?
Yeah. What is it? Speak up.
So this means speak up, I can't hear you.
Also, this is probably a pretty good one for that because this means point of information. Point of information is super specific. It means like you just set a time or date that I actually know is different. Or you just spoke of an event and you said, I don't know when that is, and I do know when it is. That would be a point of information. Point of information is not like my opinion based on that or a concern based around that or a question. None of those things are points of information. Points of information are literally a point of information. This is a point of process. Point of process means we're off topic or we aren't following the procedure that we're talking about right now. Point of process basically is trying to get one of our attention as facilitators to acknowledge that. It doesn't necessarily mean stand up and shout point of process and interrupt the person speaking. There's a decent chance that one of us understands what your point of process is, and if we address it and it's wrong, then like make it a point to state it from there. But please leave it in the hands of facilitators to deal with that so that we aren't interrupting people because it's kind of rude. This is also like you're talking for a really long time. It doesn't mean I disagree with you. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It means you're talking for a really long time. Maybe like make your point.
So, we have some
each topic. We'll try and keep it just informally maybe at first. Hopefully we can do this for like a minute or so. If you're speaking for over a minute, you're probably speaking for longer than you need to make your immediate point. So you might start seeing a lot of this. To acknowledge this meeting is specifically to deal with and discuss issues pertaining to occupiers and the occupation space. We can't make decisions for like the movement, but we can make decisions about how we live here. Good? Okay. So if everything is covered, we'll just start. Yeah. Statements about the movement. Well, statements in themselves are generally like a soapbox item, and there's time for that. But developed presentations or points of what's the word? Proposals go through working groups, which are listed, I believe, at both readers' desks and the information table. You develop it through a group, and then as a group, bring it in front of the General Assembly, which happens every day at 7 o'clock.
There was a point of information.
It was. Okay. Last question, and then let's...
Not a question, suggestion. Can we open the meeting with 3 ohms to try to bring consciousness, because consciousness is truly the one thing that's going to make a difference to what this discussion is going to be about, our living space.
Let's enact a temperature check on that. How do people feel with opening the meeting on 3 ohms? It seems like most folks who are expressing an opinion are into it. So, for the sake of today's meeting, I'm okay with that. Lead us. Please lead us. Temperature check on Holmes.
Thank you.
So let's start with opening stack on announcements directly pertinent to today.
I know a lot of us smoke, a lot of us don't. We have various things else. If you smoke, you can go downwind. That way you can both not bother other people and also learn about living downwind.
Real quick, I think we're expecting quite a few people here tomorrow, so in the morning when you get up, if you can clean up your sleeping area, make sure that people clear.
Yes.
Everybody, we have a lot of people in the area. Just try and tidy up, keep it clear, so we can have shops off and get people in and out.
Because I didn't specify, Sage has direct response, and then I'd like to say that it would be great if we didn't use direct responses in this meeting because they digress quite a bit.